remember the first time I ever found myself in talks with a publisher. They actually asked me to write a book for them, which was really exciting. It was a publisher that I built a relationship with over the course of a couple of years of going to conventions and stuff, and they were really interested in seeing what I had to offer. And I had 3 books in mind when they approached me. 3 different books that I was thinking about writing, all kind of at the same time. And so I asked them, what book would interest you the most? What do you think would align most with what you're looking to publish? Because publishing ultimately is a business. They have their own schedules, they have things on the docket, and you don't want to pitch something that's going to directly compete with something they've already signed, because they may not have space in the schedule for that. Makes total sense. So I asked them, what would be the most interesting to you? And out of the 3, they picked the one that I was actually the least interested in writing. But because I'd never worked with a publisher before, and I thought this was a really cool opportunity, I was in the middle of actually working on this series, Into the Nanton, the map that I have on my wall in my storage. I was still in the middle of running this, but I was like, cool, well, I need to work on another book. This would be a great opportunity. Unfortunately, what they were most interested in was the one that I was the least interested in writing at the time. It was a book that I was looking forward to writing, but it wasn't the one I was the most excited about. That book would eventually become this one right here, Off Grid, which they, believe it or not, even though this book is physically in my hands right now, they passed on that book. And then I was writing another book that I was pretty interested in and not that intimidated by, and they passed on that book as well. And it was a lot of time spent writing books that ended up not getting read. Now, this book did end up getting read because we kickstarted it and it was available. It's not available anymore. That's a story we can tell another time. But the whole reason I tell this story is because it was a ton of work to make this a reality. And it's the first book in a series that's now stalled because I haven't gotten around to writing the second or third book because life is busy and it's insane. But how much different would it have been if I'd written the book I was the most excited about? I think that book would have been one that I would not only have been a little bit more proud of at the time, but probably would have stood a better chance of going somewhere simply because I was excited about it. It's what I was really resonating with. It was a huge challenge, which is part of the reason that I was willing to go for this as well, because this is actually kind of a cop-out to write this book. This book was already pretty much at least outlined in my head, and the other one was a much, much bigger challenge. And so if there's a lesson to take from it, it's to pursue what interests you the most in the moment and to focus on that and let the other things slide for a minute, because even though I want to get back to this series and I want to write the rest of it, I absolutely do. I plan to, for those of you that are waiting for it. Sorry about that. I absolutely want to write it, but as a cautionary tale, the amount of time and effort that went into this and the level of pride that I had in it might have been elevated had I gone for the thing that I was actually the most interested in the moment. Whether or not that would have gotten me to the publishing deal is beside the point. I think it ultimately comes down to maintaining the joy in the process, and that keeps the satisfaction alive, and that keeps us going regardless of whether or not anybody else validates it.